For the third week now, Russian forces have been attacking major Ukrainian cities. 549 civilians have lost their lives as per the United Nations. The actual death toll could be much higher. Over 2 million people have fled the war. As the Russian attack continues, the U.S. has repeatedly ruled out any direct involvement in the conflict by the U.S. and NATO allies. As per Joe Biden, their direct participation could turn this into World War III. But Russia seems to be already preparing for an escalation. In the latest, Moscow has said its troops could target supplies of Western weapons in Ukraine. Have a look at what the Russian Deputy Foreign Minister, Sergei Ryabkov, told state television. I'm quoting, "We warned the United States that the orchestrated pumping of weapons from a number of countries is not just a dangerous move, it is a move that turns these convoys into legitimate targets," quote unquote. He said Moscow had warned about the consequences of the thoughtless transfer to Ukraine of weapons like man-portable air defense systems, anti-tank missile systems, and so on. Not just that. Ryabkov said Washington had not taken Moscow's warning seriously, adding that Russia and the U.S. were not holding any negotiation process on Ukraine. So Russia is calling the West's supply of weapons to Ukraine a dangerous move. Moscow sees this as a quote-unquote thoughtless transfer of weapons. Just what is the extent of the military support that we are talking about? Analysts say there is evidence that recently supplied weapons by the West are already being used. Among the ones supplied by the West are shoulder-launched air defense missiles, also known as MANPADS. They include the infamous US-made Stinger surface-to-air missiles that it used against Soviet aircraft during its occupation of Afghanistan in the 1980s. The United Kingdom also delivered 2,000 light anti-tank missiles, or the NLAWs. Reports say these were already being used to destroy Russian armored columns. How many weapons has the West supplied to Ukraine yet? The exact numbers are hard to come by. But at least 20 countries have supplied arms, including the US, the UK, European Union countries, even Sweden and Finland, both of which have a long history of neutrality and are not members of the NATO. The United States and NATO members have sent at least 17,000 anti-tank missiles and 2,000 Stinger anti-aircraft missiles. Germany and the Netherlands sent 1,000 anti-tank and Stinger air defense missiles. Canada sent over 4,000 rocket launchers and over 7,500 hand grenades. Recent weapons deliveries include tens of thousands of assault rifles and machine guns, anti-tank mines, and hundreds of tons of ammunition. Body armor, helmets, and medical supplies have also been sent. The UK says it is helping facilitate the deliveries of these weapons. The West, however, has not given out details of how the supplies are getting through. The NATO chief had earlier said that the Western alliance must not allow Russia's invasion of Ukraine to spill over into a war between the NATO and Moscow. He made the comments while responding to a question on whether there will be a no-fly zone over Ukraine. The West clearly wants to contain the conflict. It has rejected a no-fly zone over Ukraine so that this does not become a war between Russia and the West. But now, with Russia saying that it could target Western arms supplies to Ukraine, it is a direct warning to the West of further escalation and puts further pressure on the US and the NATO that are already under fire for not doing enough to help Ukraine. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.